Your history books have deliberately hidden a global empire. A powerful global empire, spanning 3 centuries, was erased from history. Its colossal cities now lie buried 20 feet beneath our feet. A devastating mud flood in the 1800s systematically erased this world. Giants, free energy, and alien connections lurk in the forgotten past. Stay to uncover the shocking truth that academia hides. Envision a vast civilization, its grand cities adorned with impossible architecture, suddenly gone. Not vanquished, nor eroded by time, but seemingly erased, deliberately buried by earth. Colossal layers of mud and debris swallowed entire metropolises, burying them completely. Cryptic maps and sunken ruins remain, silent witnesses to a global world-rewriting cataclysm. What force could orchestrate such oblivion? How could entire cities be simply erased? Vanished to a foot. An unsettling feeling persists. The ground beneath us hides secrets that shatter history. These profound secrets could challenge everything we believed about human civilization's past. This is Tartaria, a chilling enigma. Its name dominated ancient world maps for centuries. Yet, Tartaria was systematically scrubbed from atlases, as if it were a collective hallucination. Its very existence erased, Tartaria became a forgotten empire, a whispered, ancient mystery. But persistent threads of evidence stubbornly refused to remain buried, resurfacing now. For over 300 years, from the 1600s, European cartographers depicted Tartaria. French, Dutch, and German mapmakers meticulously showed Tartaria as a colossal dominion. Tartaria spanned from the Caspian Sea to the Pacific, encompassing Siberia and Central Asia. These weren't vague sketches. Historical maps detailed distinct divisions of this empire. They showed independent, Chinese, and Russian Tartary, hinting at a sophisticated, federated empire. This suggests a vast empire, exerting influence over multiple realms, far beyond simple tribes. The consistency across independent mapmakers, even from rival nations, is frankly staggering. Why such precise depictions if Tartaria was just a fantasy, or nomadic tribes? Its sudden disappearance from atlases by the 1900s remains profoundly unsettling. Modern textbooks now bypass it entirely, dismissively relegating it to a vague historical term for the steppe lands inhabited by horse-riding peoples of Mongol and Turkic descent. But this facile explanation crumbles under closer scrutiny. If it was merely a placeholder for unknown lands, why the precise, consistent boundaries? And why its sudden, uniform disappearance, as if a global edict had demanded its removal from collective memory? The theorists today whisper of a profound conspiracy. Powerful, emerging entities, perhaps empires like Russia, relentlessly expanding into Siberia, allegedly rebranded these vast lands, absorbing Tartaria's legacy to conceal something far more profound than mere territorial acquisition. At the very core of this orchestrated vanishing act lies the hypothesized Great Mud Flood, a theorized global catastrophe in the 1800s. This event, it is argued, didn't inundate the world with water, but rather engulfed it in vast quantities of liquefied earth, burying entire cities feet deep in a viscous mire of mud and debris. Imagine thriving metropolises flourishing one day, then descending into an eerie silence the next, entombed beneath a flowing slurry-like earth that quickly hardened like concrete. This cataclysm would have perfectly preserved structures below ground, while the new surface was subsequently rebuilt atop the forgotten ruins. This was no gradual sinking due to urban development, as mainstream historians sometimes claim, paving over old roads or elevating streets for sanitation. No, proponents argue this was a singular, devastating event, potentially triggered by immense seismic forces, inexplicable plasma discharges from the sky, or even deliberately engineered cataclysms designed to obliterate all evidence of an advanced pre-existing society. Consider the striking example of Seattle. Its famous underground reveals entire blocks of meticulously constructed buildings now lying beneath modern streets. Their original ground floors function as basements, with intricate windows peering up like relics from a truly lost age. Official accounts attribute this to a series of devastating fires and plumbing woes in the late 1800s, necessitating the elevation of roadways. But why the uniform depth of burial? And why do these subterranean layers boast such intricate stonework and sophisticated designs that seem to defy the era's supposedly primitive capabilities? Construction workers, who uncover these during excavations, frequently report incredibly precise handiwork and ornate facades that unequivocally suggest a pre-existing advanced civilization, not the hasty builds of pioneer settlements. This uncanny pattern repeats itself in New York City, where subway excavations have unearthed elaborate architecture far below ground, vaulted ceilings and detailed masonry that align not with conventional colonial history, but with a unified global architectural style. And this phenomenon isn't confined to America. Chicago's streets were notoriously razed after the Great Fire of 1871, but theorists point to buried features beneath the cities, suggesting a devastating mud deluge may have predated the blaze. Across Europe, cities from Paris to London reveal similar sinking buildings, where original first floors now serve as cellars, all eerily coinciding with Tartaria's erasure from global maps. What if this mud flood was in fact the weapon in a grand, deliberate reset, a means of concealing Tartaria's profound secrets? The empire's maps, many argue, hint at advanced knowledge, perhaps even free energy and harmonious societies that posed a direct threat to emerging, centralized powers. By burying the tangible evidence, those in control ensured humanity would forget its true heritage, relegating us to a perceived lesser age, one of struggle and dependency. This narrative ties unsettlingly to Graham Hancock's theories, prominently featured in his series, Ancient Apocalypse. Hancock uncovers compelling evidence of a lost Ice Age civilization, seemingly obliterated by cataclysms approximately 12,000 years ago. He meticulously explores sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, with its massive T-shaped pillars, carved an astonishing 11,000 years before the first pyramids. This suggests that mere hunter-gatherers could not have possibly constructed them alone. Hancock proposes that a comet impact triggered global floods, rapidly melting immense ice sheets and violently reshaping the planet, a process eerily similar to the mud flood's hypothesized soil liquefaction, where ground turns to liquid under extreme vibrations, swallowing entire structures. In episodes like Once There Was a Flood, Hancock delves into striking geological scars, colossal boulder fields in North America, deeply eroded landscapes in the Amazon, all pointing to immense deluges that effectively erased advanced societies. This mirrors Tartaria's conjectured fate, perhaps as a more recent echo in the 1800s, where plasma events or seismic waves wrought similar widespread devastation. Hancock predictably faces fierce backlash, labeled a purveyor of pseudo-history for daring to challenge conventional timelines that place the dawn of civilization at Sumer, around 5,000 years ago. Yet his own evidence, ancient maps like the Piri-Reis map, depicting an ice-free Antarctica centuries before known exploration, resonates with Tartaria's perplexing cartographic consistency. Critics accuse Hancock of sensationalism, but his enthusiasts interpret this pushback as deliberate suppression. Why, they ask, is there such intense resistance to ideas that fundamentally question academia's established grip on history? Netflix's series, predictably, ignited fierce debates, with archaeologists decrying it as dangerous, yet it undeniably resonates with a vast audience, because, like the mystery of Tartaria, it forces us to ask, what if history as we know it is a carefully constructed lie and wind? What if our perceived progress is in fact a regression from forgotten technologically and spiritually advanced peaks? The mud flood hypothesis continues to gain significant traction online, with communities meticulously dissecting historical photos of buried windows in Salt Lake City or Edinburgh's underground vaults. These anomalies, they argue, aren't random. They share profound stylistic echoes, classical columns, ornate domes, suggesting a unified, worldwide Tartarian influence. Why do Russian maps of Tartary align with Siberian anomalies like the Tunguska event of 1908? A massive explosion that theorists link to either residual Tartarian technology or the flood's lingering aftermath. Hancock's Sirius Rising episode examines Malta's megalithic temples, structures older than Stonehenge, boasting remarkable acoustic properties that hint at sophisticated sound-based technology, paralleling Tartaria's theorized resonance chambers. If survivors of the Ice Age indeed seeded later cultures, could Tartaria be a direct descendant, its mud flood a more recent localized mini-apocalypse, perhaps echoing the younger Dryas comet strike? As Hancock meticulously details, the questions relentlessly pile up. If maps were systematically redrawn to hide Tartaria, who orchestrated this immense effort? Was the mud flood a purely natural disaster, or was its devastating impact amplified, perhaps even engineered, by powerful entities fearing the re-emergence of free energy technologies? Hancock's broader work suggests pervasive patterns of erasure. Doggerland, submerged beneath the North Sea. Saharan rock art depicting lush, verdant landscapes now swallowed by desert. Tartaria, in this grand mosaic, fits perfectly, an empire buried, its profound knowledge suppressed to deliberately keep humanity in the dark. As we meticulously unravel these intricate threads, the enigma only deepens. Buildings worldwide seem to whisper of a unified, forgotten past. Maps stubbornly defy dismissal as mere fantasy, and cataclysms like the mud flood scream of a deliberate, orchestrated act of forgetting. What profound truths lie dormant, waiting for those brave enough to dig beneath the surface? In this vein, profound connections to other enduring mysteries abound. Consider the Bermuda Triangle, a notorious zone of vanishings, where ships and planes disappear without a trace. Could it be a remnant Tartarian portal, a nexus of unstable energy fields from lost technology, distorting the very fabric of reality? Theorists link it to ancient maps, showing anomalous seas, perhaps gateways Tartarians once used for advanced travel, now malfunctioning in the wake of the mud flood. Crop circles, those intricate geometric patterns appearing mysteriously in fields, might be more than artistic pranks. They could be coded messages from Tartarian descendants, or echoes of their sophisticated geometric knowledge. Starforts, their distinctive designs stamped into the earth across continents, might serve not as mere fortifications, but as warnings or even blueprints for future revival. The suppression of free energy intertwines here. Nikola Tesla's groundbreaking ideas for wireless power, allegedly inspired by ancient texts, could stem directly from Tartarian crystal technology, harnessing atmospheric energy, knowledge strategically hidden by industrialists like Edison to monopolize global resources. Ancient alien theories amplify this narrative, suggesting extraterrestrials aided Tartaria, much as Hancock hints at star knowledge, encoded in Göbekli Tepe's alignments. The Illuminati, that shadowy elite cabal, purportedly guards these secrets, utilizing resets to maintain their grip on control. Giants factor heavily into this too. Newspaper reports from the 1800s detail the astonishing discovery of 9-foot skeletons unearthed in American mounds, bones that were mysteriously whisked away by the Smithsonian. Biblical Nephilim, Greek Titans, are these collective memories of Tartarian builders, their massive doors and staircases fitting oversized inhabitants. Atlantis and Mu connect seamlessly. Plato's Sunken Island, Edgar Cayce's visions of Mu in the Pacific, perhaps predecessors to Tartaria, their technology inherited, then buried in mud. Hancock's explorations of underwater ruins off Japan or Cuba bolster this, suggesting cyclical destructions. The 5 eras framework contextualizes this, golden ages of spiritual mastery yielding to Tartaria's 4th era of towering cities and airships, eventually felled by infiltration, leading to our plastic fifth era of disposability and manufactured scarcity. Wendell felled by infiltration. Why the relentless erasure? A society with limitless free energy fundamentally threatens oil barons and established power structures. Harmonious cultures defy division and control. Maps were redrawn. Catastrophic floods, perhaps engineered, were unleashed. History was sanitized. Yet, remnants stubbornly persist. Star forts, still channeling subtle energies. Buried cathedrals, resonating with inexplicable frequencies. Dig deeper, and the questions relentlessly pile up. Are we, perhaps descendants of Tartarian survivors, our very DNA holding the keys to reclaim lost wisdom? As night deepens, let these puzzles stir your mind. What if unlocking Tartaria's secrets completely redefines the very essence of humanity? Sleep with these profound whispers of the past. Have you ever stood in the imposing shadow of a grand, ancient building, gazing upwards at doorways that soar 15 feet high, or contemplating staircases with steps so vast they demand an unnatural stretch of your leg? And as you marvel, have you ever wondered if these structures were crafted not for us, ordinary folk, but for beings of truly extraordinary stature? The architecture often attributed to the Tartarian legacy beckons with precisely such anomalies, pulling us into a realm where the conventional line between myth and buried reality blurs, inviting us to directly question whether giants once roamed this earth, shaping civilizations with hands that could cradle boulders like mere pebbles. Let us wander through these architectural marvels, beginning with the opulent state capitals and grand opera houses that grace the skylines of both America and Europe. Their designs consistently echo a precision and scale that seems to defy the known tools and capabilities of their alleged builders. Consider the Iowa State Capitol, with its towering domes and intricate stonework that appear to pulse with an otherworldly symmetry. Theorists posit these as enduring remnants of Tartaria's golden era, where buildings were not mere shelters but integral extensions of a harmonious existence, integrating geometry that resonated profoundly with the very energies of the planet. The columns rise like ancient sentinels, meticulously carved with details that even modern masons struggle to replicate, despite our advanced machinery. What hidden knowledge allowed for such breathtaking feats? Was it a profound mastery of sound waves, as some suggest, where specific frequencies could lift massive stones into place, defying gravity in ways we can scarcely comprehend? Delving deeper, the sheer proportions of these structures tell a captivating tale of their own. In the grand palaces of St. Petersburg or the ornate halls of San Francisco, miraculously rebuilt after the devastating 1906 earthquake, ceilings vault 3 times higher than any practical necessity demands. Furthermore, period photographs often reveal furniture, chairs with unusually elevated seats, tables that dwarf their surroundings, all hinting at inhabitants far taller than the average human. Historical accounts from the 1800s are brimming with astonishing discoveries of oversized skeletons during mining and construction across America. Bones measuring an incredible 7 to 9 feet, with robust, powerful structures, suggesting a distinct race apart. Newspapers of the era, meticulously archived in the Smithsonian's early records, reported these finds routinely, only for the remains to mysteriously vanish into private vaults or, disturbingly, be outright destroyed. Why such secrecy? Could it be that acknowledging these giants would unravel our entire evolutionary narrative, forcing us to confront a past where humanity shared the world with colossal kin? Mythology weaves seamlessly into this narrative, drawing intricate threads from cultures across the globe. Greek legends speak of the Titans, colossal beings who waged war with the gods and reputedly shaped the cosmos before their dramatic downfall. The Bible references the Nephilim, offspring of divine entities and mortals, giants who roamed the earth before the Great Flood, a deluge that eerily mirrors the mud flood we explored earlier, perhaps serving as a divine mechanism to purge their influence. Norse sagas describe enormous warriors, while Native American oral histories across vast continents consistently recount encounters with red-haired giants inhabiting mound cities, their burial sites yielding elongated skulls and massive tools. These are not isolated fables. They form a global tapestry powerfully suggesting shared cultural memories of actual encounters with a Tartarian race of giants, the purported builders of an empire that stretched from Eastern Europe all the way to the Americas. Imagine the profound implications. If these giants engineered Tartaria's colossal structures, their technology must have been revolutionary. This concept links directly to the ancient aliens hypothesis, where some theorists propose extraterrestrial aid, visitors from the stars imparting knowledge of acoustic levitation, the manipulation of matter at a molecular level through precise sound frequencies. Modern experiments today, such as those using ultrasonic waves to lift small objects, offer tantalizing glimpses of this potential. But scaled up, it could provide a stunning explanation for how megalithic structures worldwide, from Egypt's pyramids to Peru's Sacsayhuaman, with its impossibly interlocking, hundreds-of-ton stones, were assembled without modern cranes. In Tartaria's context, star forts, those enigmatic geometric bastions scattered across continents, might not have been mere military defenses, but sophisticated energy conduits, their precise angles and proportions designed to harness planetary resonance, perhaps even to power entire cities or facilitate interstellar communication. Their precise angles and proportions designed to harness planetary resonance, perhaps even to power entire cities or facilitate interstellar communication. Yet whispers of doubt inevitably creep in, as skeptics point to more conventional historical explanations. Grand architecture, they argue, simply symbolized power and awe, not accommodation for giants. Doorways were tall for dramatic effect, staircases wide for ceremonial processions. Grand architecture, they argue, simply symbolized power and awe, not accommodation for giants. The skeletons? Often misidentified animal bones or exaggerated reports from an era of sensational journalism. The Smithsonian, far from a conspiratorial vault, catalogued finds openly, with losses attributed to poor preservation rather than deliberate hiding. But these rebuttals only intensify the curiosity. Why do so many disparate accounts align from Victorian newspapers to indigenous lore? If it's all fabrication, what explains the consistent measurements, the shared motifs of giant builders across seemingly disconnected societies? Pushing further into the enigma, consider the remarkable acoustic evidence embedded in these structures. Step inside a Tartarian-era cathedral or government hall, and the very sound behaves unnaturally. Voices carry with supernatural clarity. Echoes amplify in precise, almost preordained harmonies. The futurists argue these were sophisticated resonance chambers, engineered to manipulate frequencies for healing, energy generation, or even levitation. Modern research actually backs the underlying science. Sematics demonstrates how sound waves can precisely shape sand into geometric patterns, while infrasound can alter water's properties or induce hallucinations. What if Tartarians, possibly giants with heightened sensitivities, mastered this centuries ago, utilizing it for construction without brute force? Ancient aliens proponents extend this, suggesting beings from Orion or Sirius seeded the technology as depicted in Sumerian tablets or Egyptian hieroglyphs, showing elongated figures wielding staffs that seem to hum with power. The global uniformity of this architecture adds even more layers of intrigue. From Chicago's neoclassical wonders to Moscow's ornate facades, the distinctive style persists. Classical columns, domes that mimic celestial spheres, stonework executed with mathematical precision. How did disparate nations achieve such architectural synchronization without modern communication, unless, as the theory proposes, it stemmed from a singular Tartarian source, giants disseminating their advanced knowledge across their sprawling empire? Buried evidence further supports this. During San Francisco's rapid reconstruction after the 1906 earthquake, workers uncovered intact facades beneath rubble, not shattered by tremors, but seemingly interred long before. Similar finds in European excavations reveal elaborate underground networks of halls with giant-scale features, fueling speculation of subterranean refuges for these beings during cataclysms, thereby tying into broader mysteries. The giants are linked directly to Atlantis and Mu, those lost continents where advanced races, perhaps the same lineage, thrived before their eventual submersion. Plato's accounts describe Atlanteans as tall, technologically superior, their downfall eerily echoing Tartaria's own hypothesized reset. Edgar Cayce's psychic readings of Mu portray Pacific giants, with crystal technology, their scattered survivors seeding new civilizations. Hancock's explorations in Ancient Apocalypse reinforce this with underwater anomalies off Bimini or Yonaguni, resembling giant-built harbors carbon-dated to eras predating known history. Could Tartarian giants be descendants? Their architecture a faded echo of those submerged wonders. The conspiracy thickens with modern suppressions. Why do institutions like the Smithsonian notoriously restrict access to certain artifacts? Reports from whistleblowers claim vaults hold giant mummies, elongated skulls with unknown DNA markers. Ancient alien theories posit government pacts with extraterrestrials to hide hybrid origins, giants as experiments gone awry or guardians of forbidden knowledge. Crop circles, those enigmatic field patterns, might actually encode giant blueprints, geometric echoes of Tartarian star forts appearing overnight as if stamped by invisible hands. What profound secrets do these anomalies hold? Were giants truly the architects of our world, their monumental legacy encoded in stone, waiting for us to resonate with the right frequency to unlock it? The proportions, the myths, the hidden bones all converge on a narrative that fundamentally challenges our diminutive view of history, urging us to look up, to stretch further, and to wonder if we are but shadows of a taller, grander past. Venturing into specific sites amplifies the allure of this architectural mystery. Take the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco, a magnificent survivor of the 1915 Panama Pacific International Exposition. Its colossal arches and serene lagoons seem to evoke a scale designed for beings twice our height. Early photographs from the era often show surprisingly empty expanses, but zoom in and subtle anomalies appear, figures that seem subtly oversized, perhaps blurred by deliberate editing. Theorists claim historical images were systematically altered to normalize proportions, thereby concealing the actual presence of giants. Similarly, within Russia's opulent Hermitage Museum, vast halls with ceilings that vanish into shadow house artifacts like oversized armor, officially dismissed as ceremonial, yet perfectly fitting a 9-foot warrior. The sound technology angle continues to fascinate endlessly. In Peru's Ollantaytambo, massive stones fit so tightly that a razor blade cannot pass between them, and acoustic tests reveal specific frequencies that seem to ease their movement. If giants wielded this mastery, Tartaria's empire transforms into a symphony of construction, with airships humming in harmony with ground-based resonators. The ancient alien link suggests UFO sightings over ancient mound sites, like Ohio's Serpent Mound, where electromagnetic anomalies frequently spike, suggesting residual energy fields. Debunkers, of course, counter with simpler explanations. Grandeur for grandeur's sake, they argue. Architects of the Beaux Arts movement aimed to inspire awe, not to house giants. Skeletons were hoaxes or genuine cases of giantism. Yet the persistent reports, from the red-haired mummies of Lovelock Cave to Sardinia's Nuragic Towers, reputedly built for titans, keep the doubt vividly alive. What if the official explanations are, in fact, the real cover-up? Academia's firewall against paradigm-shifting truths. As we meticulously peel back these layers, the architecture itself reveals still more. Hidden chambers within Egyptian pyramids, with giant sarcophagi aligned to stars, perhaps navigated by giants. In Tartaria's hypothesized framework, these are outposts the empire's reach global, giants bridging continents with technology that bent the laws of physics. The giant's ultimate downfall adds a poignant layer. Overwhelmed by smaller folk, or devastating cataclysms, their profound knowledge fragmented into enduring myths. Yet, perhaps within our very DNA, traces still linger. These tall tales might be quite literal, urging us to reclaim heights lost to time. The ruins stand, silent sentinels beckoning explorers to decode their scale, to imagine footsteps that once shook the earth. As we ponder these colossal mysteries, I am curious, where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it there? Let me know in the comments, and let's see how far these whispers of giants have traveled. Picture yourself soaring silently through the twilight skies aboard a colossal airship, its polished hull gleaming under starlight, effortlessly docking with the spire of a towering dome that pulses with an invisible hum of energy. This vessel, remarkably, is not powered by steam or conventional fuel, but by the very ether of the atmosphere, harvested through magnificent crystals that shimmer like captured lightning. This isn't mere science fiction, it's a tantalizing glimpse into Tartaria's alleged lost technologies. A world where free energy flowed as abundantly as rivers, and star-shaped fortresses were not built for war, but ingeniously designed to channel the very forces of the universe, bending sound and vibration into tools capable of reshaping reality itself. The allure of these legendary innovations begins with the airship, those majestic behemoths occasionally documented in grainy photographs and obscure patents from the late 1800s and early 1900s, often dismissed as primitive dirigibles, prone to disaster like the infamous Hindenburg, yet delve into the surviving accounts, and a profoundly different picture emerges. Vessels reportedly capable of unlimited range, hovering with eerie stability, their envelopes perhaps not filled solely with hydrogen, but augmented by sophisticated electromagnetic fields drawn directly from the air. Theorists speculate these were remnants of advanced Tartarian engineering, where crystal arrays amplified atmospheric electricity, allowing for silent, highly efficient travel across continents. Imagine docking stations atop skyscrapers in cities like Tulsa or New York. As historical sketches tantalizingly suggest, airships mooring to towering structures with precision, effortlessly disembarking passengers and cargo without the roar of conventional engines. Why do official histories so consistently downplay these capabilities, attributing them to crude, early aviation experiments, when eyewitness reports from that very era describe strange lights and hums that unequivocally hint at anti-gravity propulsion? This leads us directly to the core of Tartaria's rumored technological prowess: free energy, a concept that promised boundless power without the oppressive chains of coal, oil or nuclear fission, but one allegedly suppressed to preserve entrenched economic empires. Nikola Tesla, the enigmatic inventor, may have drawn direct inspiration from Tartarian relics, his groundbreaking wireless energy transmission experiments echoing what theorists believe were widespread capabilities in the lost civilization. Tesla's infamous Wardenclyffe Tower, intended to broadcast electricity globally, was mysteriously dismantled amid intense financial intrigue. But imagine if it was designed to tap into the very same principles, harnessing the ionosphere's natural charge through precise resonant frequencies. The Illuminati, that shadowy network of elites so often invoked in conspiracies, are said to have orchestrated the ultimate cover-up, meticulously ensuring that free energy remained buried, lest it dismantle the monopolies of industrial titans like Rockefeller and Morgan. What if patents from the 1800s, now gathering dust in forgotten archives, describe ingenious devices that pull power directly from thin air, suppressed under dubious national security pretexts? Crystal power forms yet another foundational pillar of this enduring mystery, with proponents claiming Tartarians utilized quartz and other specialized minerals as powerful amplifiers, creating sophisticated grids that distributed energy wirelessly across truly vast distances. Ancient texts from Atlantis and Mu, precursors to Tartaria, in some narratives, describe similar technology: immense crystals attuned to Earth's ley lines, generating powerful fields that literally powered entire cities. In modern echoes, experiments with piezoelectric crystals demonstrate how pressure can produce electricity, But scaled to Tartarian levels, these could have levitated massive stones or illuminated streets without any visible wires. Why then do we find massive quartz deposits near alleged Tartarian sites, such as in Siberia's remote expanses, often coinciding with unexplained electromagnetic anomalies? Could the Tunguska explosion of 1908 have been a catastrophic malfunction of a colossal crystal array, releasing a blast that flattened forests but left no conventional crater? Now turn your gaze to the star forts, those enigmatic geometric strongholds scattered across Europe, North America and Asia. Their distinctive pointed bastions form intricate patterns that utterly defy simple military logic. Mainstream history labels them as Renaissance-era defenses against cannon fire, designed by brilliant engineers like Vauban to maximize angles of fire. But peer closer, and their precise geometry screams of a far deeper purpose. Their proportions align with sacred mathematics. Their angles resonate with specific sound waves or electromagnetic fields. Theorists argue these were sophisticated energy manipulators, meticulously built to focus Earth's natural currents, perhaps generating power or even defending against cosmic threats. Step inside one like Belgium's Fort Eben Emael or America's Fort Monroe and experience the uncanny acoustic oddities, sounds that amplify unnaturally, echoes that form standing waves capable of subtly influencing matter. The connection to grand cathedrals amplifies this intrigue, with their soaring, vaulted interiors acting as massive resonance chambers. In revered places like Notre Dame or Washington's National Cathedral, structures bearing distinct Tartarian stylistic echoes, the very architecture is said to enhance specific frequencies in ways that border on the supernatural. Your voice carries, reverberates, and sometimes induces a profound sense of euphoria or altered states, as if deliberately designed for rituals harnessing sound to heal or energize. Recent studies in archaeoacoustics reveal how ancient sites like Malta's Hypogeum utilize Helmholtz resonance to produce infrasound that profoundly affects brainwaves. What if Tartarians, masters of this arcane knowledge, used it not for sermons, but to power sophisticated devices, levitate heavy objects, or communicate across immense distances? The New World Order, a modern conspiracy staple, is accused of erasing this knowledge, repurposing the forts as mere tourist attractions, while meticulously concealing their true function, perhaps still operational in hidden ways, explaining unexplained power surges in nearby areas. Ponder the profound implications for our modern world. If free energy truly existed, why the relentless global push for finite fossil fuels? Conspiracies vehemently point to the Illuminati's hidden hand, a cabal tracing its roots back to ancient secret societies, guarding Tartarian secrets to maintain absolute control. Tesla's downfall, his funding abruptly cut, his revolutionary ideas ridiculed, eerily mirrors this pattern. His invaluable notes were allegedly seized by the government shortly after his death. Airships too met suspicious ends. The Hindenburg disaster in 1937, broadcast widely, instilled pervasive fear, effectively halting development just as wireless power loomed on the horizon. Were these deliberate sabotages, meticulously designed to ensure humanity's dependency on tightly controlled resources? The global distribution of star forts adds even more layers of wonder. From India's Vijayanagara ruins with their star-like layouts to Africa's lesser-known earthworks, their precise positioning often aligns with geomagnetic hotspots, powerfully suggesting a sophisticated network that harnessed planetary energy. Imagine a unified grid spanning Tartaria's vast empire, powering airships that traversed continents without the need for refueling, docking at spires equipped with advanced crystal receivers. Historical anomalies further support this. 1920s accounts of airships soaring silently over cities, officially denied by authorities, or patents like those of Otis Carr for flying saucers, utilizing counter-rotating electromagnets, strangely echoing Tartarian technology. Yet curiosity demands a balance. What if these forts were, indeed, purely military, their complex geometry simply practical for defense? Acoustics in cathedrals, mere architectural flair for spiritual uplift, free energy thermodynamically impossible, Tesla's dreams unviable. But these dismissals, for many, only heighten the intrigue. Why do suppressed patents exist for over-unity devices that purportedly produce more energy than they consume? Why do whistleblowers from classified black projects whisper of anti-gravity craft derived from ancient blueprints? Venturing further, this technology ties inextricably to extraterrestrial influences, as depicted in ancient alien lore. Erich von Däniking's Chariots of the Gods posits celestial visitors teaching resonance technology, with starforts serving as landing pads aligned to constellations. Crop circles near these sites often mysteriously mimic their geometry, perhaps modern manifestations of the same ancient energy patterns. The Bermuda Triangle's notorious anomalies, ships vanishing amid electromagnetic storms, could be rogue Tartarian fields, portals activated by crystal resonances gone awry. The economic angle fuels endless speculation. A world with free energy would utterly collapse existing oil empires, radically redistribute wealth, and profoundly empower the masses. The Illuminati, their symbols subtly embedded in dollar bills and monumental architecture, allegedly perpetuate scarcity. Graham Hancock's Fingerprints of the Gods links this to Ice Age technology, suppressed to maintain a linear controlled historical narrative. Tartaria, in this view, is a post-Ice Age empire, its refined airships navigating ley lines, its forts anchoring a global energy grid. What remnants might still linger in remote Siberian forts, where locals report glowing auras at night. In European cathedrals, choirs allegedly induce trance states. Tesla's lost papers, perhaps hidden in secret vaults, may hold the ultimate keys. As shadows lengthen, these ancient technologies beckon from the distant past, promising a future that could be reclaimed. Airships silent in the sky, minds humming with power, crystals aglow. What if the true key to tomorrow lies hidden within yesterday's forbidden wonders? The enigma persists, drawing us ever deeper into the night. What if, while sifting through dusty archives in a forgotten library corner, you stumbled upon a faded photograph from the 1893 Chicago World's Fair? A sprawling, ethereal white city of neoclassical palaces, miraculously rising from swampland in mere months, only to be systematically razed to the ground shortly after. As if the entire breathtaking spectacle were an elaborate ruse, a grand showcase, followed by the swift obliteration of lingering remnants from a hidden empire. The image captures over 200 magnificent buildings, spread across 600 acres, their marble-like facades gleaming under the novel glow of electric lights, a testament to ingenuity that absolutely beggars belief in an era dominated by horse-drawn carts and nascent industry. But peer beyond the official narrative of celebration, and the world's Columbian exposition begins to unfold as a potential linchpin in the Tartaria conspiracy. Here, these grand structures weren't hastily erected for a fair. They were inherited from a lost civilization, perhaps renovated briefly, then meticulously demolished to erase architectural evidence that could utterly rewrite human history. The fair's timeline alone sparks endless fascination. Ostensibly designed and constructed in just 2 years to commemorate Columbus's voyage, it featured behemoths like the Manufacturers and Liberal Arts Building, which spanned an astonishing 44 acres, large enough to encompass the United States Capitol, the Great Pyramid of Giza, and several grand cathedrals, with ample room still left over. Official records adamantly insisted was all temporary, crafted from staff, a plaster, cement and fiber mix. Yet surviving photographs reveal intricate ironwork, expansive glass exteriors, and a level of detail that rivals permanent, master-built monuments. How, one must ask, did thousands of workers, many unskilled immigrants, achieve such a monumental feat amid Chicago's notorious muddy chaos, with no prior experience on such an unprecedented scale? These risks countered that the White City wasn't constructed anew, but rather stood as pre-existing Tartarian relics, painstakingly unearthed or repurposed. Their advanced design, they argue, provides the only logical explanation for the impossible speed of construction. The fair's organizers, including the renowned architect Daniel Burnham, proudly proclaimed innovation, but whispers suggest they merely polished ancient facades, hosting millions to gawk at wonders before the inevitable torches arrived. This uncanny pattern, curiously, repeats across other world's fairs. The 1904 St. Louis Exposition, with its cascading lagoons and palaces, or the 1915 San Francisco Panama Pacific International Exposition, rising phoenix-like from the ruins of the 1906 earthquake. Each boasted temporary wonders, meticulously demolished post-event, rationalized as cost-saving measures. Yet, the thoroughness of the destruction feels suspiciously deliberate. Fires consuming remnants, as in Chicago, where flames gutted much of the fairgrounds shortly after closing. Why invest immense fortunes in such breathtaking beauty, only to systematically erase it? Through the lens of conspiracy, these expositions become staged unveilings of Tartarian architecture, allowing elites to meticulously document and then dismantle, meticulously hiding advanced technology embedded within the very stones. Freemasons, frequently linked to the fair's planners, Burnham himself was rumored among them, allegedly played the role of gatekeepers, their arcane symbols etched into layouts mirroring esoteric geometry. The architecture's uniformity itself heightens the intrigue, mirroring quintessential Tartarian hallmarks, neoclassical columns, ornate domes, precise stonework, all echoing global sites from St. Petersburg to Buenos Aires. In Chicago, the Court of Honor building shared a distinctive stylistic DNA with buried structures worldwide, powerfully suggesting not independent innovation, but a grand inheritance. And what of construction photos? Skeptics point to archives brimming with images of workers pouring foundations and erecting scaffolds. But theorists argue many are staged or conspicuously absent for key construction phases, as if the core edifices truly predated the fair. Intriguingly, the fair famously introduced the Ferris wheel, a marvel of steel engineering, yet its temporary label belies its inherent durability. Why not preserve more of these groundbreaking structures, like the Palace of Fine Arts, the sole major survivor, now a museum? Delving into Masonic ties adds a shadowy depth. The fair's dedicatory ceremonies were replete with ritualistic pomp, Burnham's inner circle including prominent Freemason luminaries. Conspiracies posit the Brotherhood, acting as guardians of ancient knowledge, used these fairs to catalogue Tartarian remnants before their planned obliteration. Their symbols, pyramids and obelisks integrated into the layouts, hint at sophisticated energy grids. Illuminati extensions amplify this, accusing elites of suppressing free energy, subtly glimpsed in the fair's groundbreaking electric displays, over 20,000 bulbs powered by alternating current, largely Tesla's pioneering work. Yet, the underlying infrastructure, it's proposed, was perhaps Tartarian crystals humming beneath. Ancient alien theories inject an extraterrestrial flair. What if the fair's masked recovered alien technology, the buildings themselves reverse-engineered artifacts from starfaring visitors who once aided Tartarians? In a von Däniken-esque style, the White City's rapid rise echoes Puma Punku's impossible precision cuts, inexplicable without advanced levitation tools. UFO lore ties in, sightings reported over fairgrounds, perhaps alien probes scanning for residual Tartarian energy signatures. The destruction, to prevent public awakening, much like the alleged cover-ups at Roswell. Yet, the fair's innovations genuinely tantalize too. It debuted zippers, Cracker Jack, even Aunt Jemima syrup, cultural touchstones born amid breathtaking architectural splendor. Debunkers emphasize that staff material was cheap, quick-drying, and ideal for temporary structures. Photos exist in libraries, like the Chicago Historical Society, clearly showing dredges transforming Jackson Park's swamps. The demolition, they argue, was practical, structures were unsafe long-term, and the land was repurposed for public parks. But these explanations falter against persistent anomalies. Why do some fair photos show eerily empty streets, as if post-apocalyptic, long exposures blurring crowds, or hinting at deliberately staged emptiness. Online communities buzz with discoveries, users dissecting blueprints, noting inconsistencies like pre-fair surveys revealing anomalous, pre-existing foundations. Videos zoom on ornate details, questioning 1890s construction capabilities. Bloomberg articles label it architecture's wildest conspiracy, while believers see Tartarian mudflood survivors in the White City, the fairs as grand mirages concealing cycles of resets. Connections sprawl. The 1871 Chicago fire, conveniently preceding the fair, destroyed vast city records, perfect for hiding origins. The 1904 St. Louis Fair controversially featured human zoos, ethical horrors, perhaps distracting from underlying architectural probes. San Francisco's post-earthquake rebuild was impossibly fast, echoing Tartarian resilience. The cover-up deepened with government intervention. Fairs funded by Congress, exhibits showcasing global artifacts, Egyptian obelisks, Asian pavilions, perhaps subtly repatriating Tartarian loot. Freemasonic influence in Washington ties back, their Capitol designs mirroring fair aesthetics. What lingers post-demolition? Scattered relics, a Japanese garden in Chicago, fragments in museums. But the erasure feels unequivocally intentional. Blueprints vanished, workers' tales silenced. Ancient aliens, perhaps fairs tested public reaction to alien-derived technology, like Tesla's coils echoing extraterrestrial gifts. Wander Jackson Park today. Can you feel the echoes in the wind? Was it merely a fair or a grand funeral for an empire? The fair's lagoon famously hosted gondolas from Venice, blending worlds. Yet, the real blend was Tartaria's past with a contrived present. Debunkers cite Erik Larson's Devil in the White City, chronicling a serial killer amid the splendor. But theorists see metaphor, dark forces lurking beneath the surface. Wikipedia dismisses Tartaria as pseudo-history, yet forums thrive with photo journeys of lingering remnants. Videos abound, online dissections labeling fairs as destroyed cities, linking them to millennial reign conspiracies. Some portray believers as architecture aficionados disillusioned by modernism. The architecture conceals, perhaps in its very symmetries, encoding lost mathematics, domes as resonators. What of the no photos argument? Archives hold thousands, yet key angles are missing, fueling doubt. As curiosity builds, consider, if fairs were cover-ups, what technology was truly hidden? Energy fields in lagoons, alien alloys in wheels. The White City's luminous glow wasn't just light bulbs, perhaps it was residual Tartarian power. The enigma endures. Chicago's fair, a brilliant beacon extinguished, leaves questions glowing in the dark. What blueprints lie buried, waiting to illuminate hidden histories? The architecture whispers, urging deeper digs into the fair's fleeting glory. Delve into the shadowy annals of the 1800s, a century notoriously riddled with devastating fires that devoured entire cities, cataclysmic earthquakes that cracked the very earth, and pandemics that swept away millions. Events conventionally chronicled as random, tragic acts of nature. Yet, when viewed through the chilling lens of Tartaria's alleged downfall, they dramatically morph into orchestrated symphonies of destruction, integral components of a great reset, meticulously designed to purge an advanced empire and reboot humanity under new centralized control. The term reset here evokes modern connotations of economic overhauls, but in this context, it harks back to a deliberate, global erasure, where cataclysms weren't mere acts of nature, but meticulously wielded tools by shadowy forces engineered to bury Tartaria's legacy, ensuring its advanced technologies and harmonious societal structures faded into mere myth. The narrative ignites with the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, a blaze that inexplicably engulfed 3 square miles, reducing ornate master-built structures to ash, while paradoxically sparing simpler buildings in patterns that defy all conventional logic. A cow kicking over a lantern in Mrs. O'Leary's barn, such is the official simplistic tale. but theorists meticulously scrutinized the selective devastation, proposing plasma discharges from the sky, ethereal bolts mimicking lightning, yet leaving strange glassy residues on ruins. Plasma, that superheated state of matter, could indeed explain the melted stonework unearthed in post-fire digs, eerily reminiscent of vitrified forts in Scotland or India, where temperatures soared far beyond conventional fires. Was this a targeted strike, harnessing atmospheric energies to incinerate Tartarian holdouts? Were their advanced energy grids backfiring, or perhaps deliberately sabotaged? The fire's precise timing, just decades after Tartaria's vanishing from maps, aligned suspiciously with urban rebirths that systematically raised streets over buried layers, meticulously concealing mudfloods teeming with unexplained artifacts. From there, the reset cascades into the San Francisco earthquake of 1906, a colossal magnitude 7.9 tremor that toppled the city, followed by devastating fires that consumed what little remained. Yet amidst the rubble, construction workers mysteriously uncovered intact facades and elaborate designs buried for decades, not shattered by the quake, but seemingly interred prior. Official seismology attributes it to the San Andreas Fault, but conspiracy circles invoke induced cataclysms, perhaps through harmonic resonance weapons that amplified natural faults, liquefying soil in a localized mud flood. Eyewitnesses reported eerie lights in the sky preceding the quake, akin to earthquake lights or plasma phenomena, fueling speculation of Tartarian technology misuse. Defensive grids turned against their own creators. The rapid rebuild, with jaw-dropping structures emerging in mere years, hints at salvaged Tartarian blueprints, their advanced, quake-resistant designs repurposed, while the originals were meticulously scrubbed from history. These disasters do not stand alone. They weave into a vast tapestry of global upheavals, including the Tunguska event of 1908 in Siberia, Tartaria's very heartland, where a massive explosion flattened 800 square miles of forest without leaving any conventional crater. Officially attributed to a meteor, it is theorized by some as a malfunctioning Tartarian energy device or a retaliatory strike. The blast's yield rivaled nuclear bombs, yet no radiation lingered, suggesting plasma or scalar waves, invisible forces that could target specific zones. Siberian locals whispered of ancient ruins glowing beforehand, tying into mud flood lore, where liquefied earth swallowed cities, leaving vast flattened landscapes. Why Siberia, a region once explicitly labeled Grand Tartary on ancient maps? Perhaps it was the final stronghold, its reset masking vast underground networks now conveniently dismissed as natural caves. The Great Mud Flood itself emerges as the reset's cornerstone, a hypothesized deluge of liquefied soil in the mid-1800s, not a watery flood, but a geological slurry that systematically entombed buildings worldwide, turning original streets into new rooftops and basements into unwitting time capsules. Theorists, such as those in the mud flood hypothesis communities, point to uniform burial depths, often 10 to 20 feet, in cities from Seattle to Moscow, with ornate windows now at ground level and doors leading to nowhere. Mainstream geology cites gradual sedimentation from local floods or urban fill, but the uncanny consistency across continents suggests a singular global event, possibly triggered by electromagnetic pulses that destabilized soil particles, causing instant liquefaction. Accounts from the era describe sudden mud surges swallowing livestock and homes overnight, eerily echoed in folklore of earth-swallowing events. Intriguingly, this ties to tsunamis and biblical-scale floods, like the Black Sea deluge or Pacific waves, that theorists claim washed over Tartarian coasts, depositing immense debris layers that hardened into new ground. The Bermuda Triangle enters this narrative as a remnant anomaly, its notorious disappearances potentially due to unstable Tartarian portals, energy vortices from mud-flooded grids, distorting space-time and vanishing vessels in electromagnetic fogs. Sailors' logs from the 1800s note glowing waters and compass malfunctions there, mirroring plasma sightings before resets. Could these be echoes of defensive technology, now haywire, linking oceanic resets to land-based mud floods? The conspiracy escalates with world wars as further cover-ups. World Wars I and II, with their indiscriminate bombings and scorched earth tactics, allegedly targeted Tartarian remnants, European cities razed not just for strategic advantage, but to obliterate architectural clues. Dresden's firebombing or Hiroshima's atomic blast, some claim, tested new weapons on sites harboring hidden technology, the devastation masking systematic excavations of buried artifacts. The Spanish flu pandemic slots in as a biological reset, culling populations potentially aware of Tartaria's truths. Its rapid, inexplicable spread, defying natural epidemiology, perhaps engineered from ancient pathogens unearthed in mud layers. Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse amplifies these threads, positing cometary impacts 12,000 years ago as immense resets that drowned Ice Age civilizations, their scattered survivors seeding Tartaria. Hancock's evidence, megalithic sites like Gunung Padang, predating known history parallels mud flood burials, powerfully suggesting cyclical cataclysms. His critics decry pseudo-history but believers see undeniable patterns. Mud floods as mini-apocalypses, plasma from comets, or man-made events mimicking ancient strikes. Ancient alien theories infuse extraterrestrial motives, visitors engineering resets to control human evolution, Tartaria's fall a galactic intervention. Modern parallels further intrigue. The 2020 Great Reset economic proposal evokes fresh conspiracies of ongoing cycles, elites planning digital resets, while meticulously hiding historical ones. Wild variants include Slavic theories blending mud floods with mind control, magic, and even nukes, imagining Tartarian psychics valiantly warding off invasions until finally overwhelmed. Bloomberg's dive into architectural conspiracies notes believers viewing resets as shifts from ornate, traditional styles to stark modernism, erasing beauty for control. Debunkers, of course, counter fires from urban wood construction, quakes from tectonics, wars from politics, natural chaos, not plots. Mud floods, they argue, are exaggerated local floods or deliberate urban fills. Yet anomalies persist. Why do reset sites sometimes show vitrified soil, akin to Mohenjo-Daro's ancient unexplained ruins? Why do pandemics align suspiciously with artifact digs? Wander a fire-scarred historic district. Can you feel the ground's subtle hum? Is it merely traffic or buried energies stirring? Resets recycle histories, but survivors' whispers endure in folklore, urging us to question if the next cataclysm looms, or if decoding these past events unlocks prevention. Plasma skies, mud tsunamis, war veils, all pieces in a vast puzzle of engineered oblivion, where Tartaria's reset warns of our own profound vulnerability. What artifacts await beneath your feet? Silent sentinels of forgotten storms. Envision a submerged continent, teeming with crystalline spires that pierce the ocean's depths, their ethereal glow illuminating underwater gardens, where beings of luminous wisdom harness the very tides for eternal power, only for cataclysmic waves to swallow it all, scattering the few survivors across the globe to seed new empires, their profound knowledge fragmenting into mere whispers carried by the winds. This captivating vision of Mu, the legendary motherland of humanity, often dubbed the cradle preceding even Atlantis, beckons us to trace its ethereal threads directly to Tartaria, powerfully suggesting not isolated myths, but a chain of interconnected civilizations, each meticulously building upon the ruins of the last, their shared secrets veiled by time and deliberate obscurity. Mu, first popularized by 19th-century occultist James Churchward, through ancient tablets he claimed to decipher in India, emerges as a Pacific paradise predating known history by tens of thousands of years, a land of advanced harmony where telepathy and levitation were commonplace. Pyramids served as potent energy beacons, and society flourished without conflict. Churchward's Knuckle tablets described Mu as spanning from Easter Island to the Marianas, its people colonizing the world before a catastrophic pole shift and volcanic upheaval ultimately sank it. Survivors, according to these accounts, fled to places like Peru, Egypt, and what would eventually become Tartaria's vast domains. The profound intrigue lies in the parallels. Mu's crystal technology mirrors Tartaria's theorized atmospheric energy harvesting, both civilizations allegedly mastering free power that defied scarcity. Their ultimate downfall is inextricably tied to immense geological upheavals, echoing the mud flood's liquefaction horrors. Churchward's accounts, largely dismissed by mainstream scholars as fabrications inspired by Mayan glyphs and Hindu mysticism, gain renewed life in conspiracy circles, linking Mu to Lemuria, a hypothetical landmass proposed by 19th-century biologist to explain similar fauna across the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Gain renewed life in conspiracy circles. Lemuria, reimagined by theosophists like Helena Blavatsky as a spiritual haven of root races, blends seamlessly with Mu in narratives of ancient mother civilizations, their descendants forging Atlantis in the Atlantic before its own dramatic submergence, around 12,000 years ago, as chronicled by Plato in Timaeus and Critias. Plato's tale, purportedly drawn from Egyptian priests, depicts Atlantis as a naval powerhouse with concentric rings of water and land, advanced metallurgy, and a hubris that ultimately invited divine wrath via devastating earthquakes and floods. But what if Atlantis wasn't the end, but a crucial bridge? Mu refugees establishing it, then Atlantean survivors migrating eastward to seed Tartaria. The connections spark endless speculation. Tartaria's vast Asian expanse, once mapped as encompassing Siberia to the Pacific, aligns perfectly with Mu's eastern fringes, where survivors might have integrated with local peoples, erecting star forts as enduring echoes of Mu's geometric energy grids. Edgar Cayce, the famous sleeping prophet, channeled visions of Mu's destruction around 50,000 years BC, its people scattering to the Gobi Desert region, prime Tartarian territory, carrying profound knowledge of pyramids that functioned as power plants, much like those in Giza or Bosnia, theorized as Tartarian outposts. Cayce's Atlantis, sinking 10,000 years BC, sent waves of immigrants to Yucatan and Europe. But some narratives merge these timelines, proposing Tartaria as a post-Atlantean federation, blending Mu's spiritual technology with Atlantean engineering prowess. This fusion fuels theories of a unified ancient network where crop circles, those enigmatic agrarian artworks appearing overnight in fields worldwide, serve as coded messages from Muvian or Atlantean descendants, embedded within Tartaria's lineage. Often geometric replicas of star forts or pyramid alignments, these formations exhibit plasma-like burns and node elongations, inexplicable by human hoaxes, powerfully suggesting electromagnetic imprints from lost devices. In Wiltshire, England, near ancient megaliths, circles mysteriously mimic Atlantis's concentric rings. In Siberia, patterns evoke Mu's solar symbols. Ancient alien enthusiasts, like those in Giorgio Tsoukalos's documentaries, posit extraterrestrials as the common thread, celestial visitors gifting anti-gravity to Mu, refined in Atlantis, then guarded in Tartaria, until successive resets scattered the wisdom. The timeline shifts in conspiracies perhaps compressed by church rewrites, as in Anatoly Fomenko's New Chronology, which compresses history and links Tartaria to medieval Kanates, echoing Mu's vastness. The Catholic Church, accused in videos like Tartaria din Daest of fabricating centuries to control narratives, might have suppressed Mu and Atlantis tales to centralize biblical origins, burying pagan mother civilizations in heresy. Survivors' sagas add poignant layers. Mu's refugees, per Cayce, reached Mount Shasta in California, where underground cities persist in lore, Lemurian crystals humming in hidden caverns. Tartaria, as their heir, could house similar enclaves in the Siberian taiga, explaining shamanic traditions of spirit worlds and energy manipulation. Peruvian Incas, with their cyclopean walls at Sacsayhuaman, claimed descent from solar gods. Movian, perhaps their gold-sheeting temples akin to Atlantean orichalcum. Graham Hancock's explorations in America before uncover Clovis-era sites with Atlantean echoes, suggesting transoceanic voyages predating Columbus, perhaps Tartarian fleets navigating post-Mu routes. Romanian Tartaria tablets, clay artifacts from 5300 BC with proto-writing, hint at pre-Sumerian scripts, potentially Movian relics washed to Europe. Wikipedia labels it pseudo-archaeology, but enthusiasts see strong connections to Tartaria's very name, a linguistic bridge to these ancient mother civilizations. Broader threads ponder other grand civilizations. Hyperborea in the Arctic, Shambhala in Tibet, all potentially Mu offshoots, their free energy suppressed by modern cabals fearing societal upheaval. Reddit debates rage. Does Atlantis conflict with Tartaria, or do they merge in alternate timelines? Some speculate quantum overlaps, where cataclysms like pole shifts blend realities, Mu's sinking birthing Atlantis, its fall spawning Tartaria. Rumble videos explore mud floods as echoes of Mu's volcanism, liquefied earth swallowing empires in cycles. YouTube dives into truths behind these lands, noting similarities. Advanced harmony, sudden vanishes, survivor diasporas seeding myths. Historical blindness debunks Tartaria as hogwash, a lost empire born of map misunderstandings. But even skeptics acknowledge the allure. Why do global legends converge on sunken mothers? Lists of lost cities group Mu, Lemuria, Atlantis, and Tartaria as romantic escapes from mundane history. The enigma deepens. Explore Easter Island's Moai, Mu's sentinels staring seaward, their basalt echoing Tartarian monoliths, or Yonaguni's underwater steps off Japan, Atlantean ruins, per some, Movian per others. Ancient alien proponents like Zakaria Sitchin link the Anunnaki to all these gods, engineering humanity across mother civilizations. What if decoding these profound connections unlocks dormant potentials? Telepathy from Mu, advanced navigation from Atlantis, free energy from Tartaria. Our bloodlines perhaps mingle with these survivors. Crop circles as urgent calls to awaken. The mothers whisper through their ruins, urging curiosity. Are we merely echoes of greater wholes? Our world a fragmented heirloom. Pole shifts loom in prophecies. Casey foretold California's eventual sinkage, mirroring Mu's fate. Trace Tartarian maps to hidden hubs. These mothers birthed us. Their secrets, seeding futures untold. What legacies await rediscovery, bridging lost eras to our own? The puzzle invites pieces, scattering like a diaspora, beckoning assembly in the quiet hours. In the hushed annals of biblical prophecy, two names echo like thunder across desolate plains. Gog and Magog, ancient harbingers of apocalyptic chaos, tribes destined to unleash vast hordes upon the world in a final cataclysmic surge. But what if these aren't mere allegories of distant barbaric peoples, but rather veiled references to a tangible malevolent force that once clashed directly with Tartaria's grandeur, invading through shimmering portals that bent the very fabric of reality itself? Ancient texts, from Ezekiel to Revelation, consistently paint them as fearsome northern invaders, purportedly walled off by Alexander the Great's legendary barriers. Yet, modern conspiracies dramatically reframe them as demonic entities or even alien overlords, their mysterious realm overlapping the vast, sparsely populated expanses of Siberia, the very heartland of the erased Tartarian Empire, where UFO sightings flicker like spectral warnings, and the 2014 Sochi Olympic opening ceremony allegedly encoded their triumph in a chilling symbolic spectacle. Biblical scholars have long debated Gog and Magog's true identity. Ezekiel 38 describes Gog as a prince of Meshech and Tubal, leading immense armies from the remote north to assail Israel, a terrifying vision of end times Armageddon, where divine fire rains from heaven. Revelation 20 escalates this, portraying them as nations deceived by Satan, after a millennium of peace, marching across the earth only to be utterly devoured by a divine fire. Islamic traditions, notably in the Quran's Al-Kahf, echo this, with Dhul Qarnayn often equated to Alexander the Great, erecting an immense iron and copper wall to contain Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, savage tribes perpetually tunneling to escape before Judgment Day. Medieval maps, such as the 1375 Catalan Atlas, explicitly place them in Asia's wild territories, in lands then labeled Tartaria, where nomadic hordes dwelled beyond the supposed reach of civilized society. Yet conspiracy theorists transform this into a literal, historical invasion. Gog and Magog, in this framework, become Tartaria's ultimate nemesis, a malevolent coalition, perhaps demonic hybrids or extraterrestrial proxies, that infiltrated and systematically dismantled the empire from within, utilizing portals as insidious gateways for their devastating assault. The allure of this theory intensifies dramatically when we overlay these ancient prophecies onto Tartaria's mapped territories. 17th-century charts, such as the 1684 map by Giacomo Cantelli da Vignola, explicitly mark Gog and Magog within the borders of Great Tartary, nestled between the Black and Caspian Seas, regions historically tied to the Khazars and Scythians, peoples some link to biblical lost tribes. Online posts on platforms like X, formerly Twitter, frequently highlight these cartographic clues, suggesting Tartaria itself embodied Gog and Magog, a biblical evil empire deliberately erased by victors who subsequently rewrote history to cast it as the antagonist in end times lore. One user shares a magnified section of the 1684 map, meticulously pinpointing Gog and Magog in Siberian expanses, complete with noted grave sites of Tartarian kings, implying a royal lineage that was demonized as apocalyptic foes. Another ties it directly to the Tunguska event of 1908, a massive Siberian explosion flattening forests, perhaps the final strike against Tartarian remnants, an energy weapon blast tragically mistaken for a meteor. Could these tribes simply represent Tartaria's diverse ethnic groups, Turks, Mongols, Tartars branded as satanic hordes by conquering narratives, their advanced society recast as biblical villains? This demonic framing rapidly spirals into extraterrestrial territory, where Gog and Magog morph into alien invaders breaching portals, Stargate-like gateways theorized in ancient myths and modern pseudoscience. The Iraqi Stargate conspiracy, popularized in the early 2000s, claims Saddam Hussein unearthed an ancient portal in Earth's ziggurat, a device for interdimensional travel guarded by Sumerian Anunnaki gods, purportedly prompting the US invasion to seize it. Similarly, Sri Lanka's Ranmasuvuyana features a distinctive stone Stargate chart, interpreted as a complex code for unlocking cosmic doors, its symbols aligning with global ley lines. In Tartaria's saga, these portals become prime invasion points, with Gog and Magog emerging as otherworldly forces slipping through rifts in Siberia, where UFO sightings notoriously abound. Reports from the 2010s describe strange orbs and disks over Lake Baikal, ancient Tartarian territory, with locals recounting metallic hums and vanishing crafts, echoes of demonic incursions or alien beachheads. Online videos amplify this, linking Siberian anomalies to Tartarian defenses, breached by portal technology, perhaps stargates reminiscent of those in Stargate SG-1 mythology, where wormholes connect galaxies. The 2014 Sochi Olympics opening ceremony dramatically catapults this into contemporary intrigue, a lavish spectacle that theorists meticulously dissect as a coded retelling of Tartaria's fall to Gog and Magog. Held in Russia, the modern heir to vast Tartarian lands, the ceremony featured spectacular floating structures morphing into rings, one famously malfunctioning. This glitch is interpreted as a deliberate portal failure, symbolizing breached gateways. Sequences depicted a harmonious, advanced city threatened by dark forces emerging from voids, initially triumphant, but ultimately overwhelmed, mirroring Tartaria's initial victories against external threats before succumbing to internal corruption. Russian television downplayed the ring failure, fueling cover-up claims, while the event's various controversies, doping scandals, anti-gay laws distracted from the alleged subtext, subtle Putin-era nods to suppressed history. Online posts link this to biblical prophecies, suggesting Sochi's Black Sea proximity, near Gog and Magog's mapped zones, encoded a ritualistic reveal. Was the ceremony a Freemasonic or Illuminati pageant? Portals symbolized in floating snowflakes, demonic forces as invading athletes. Siberian UFOs further intensify the portal mystique. The 1986 Dalnogorsk incident witnessed a spherical object crash, leaving behind exotic alloys analyzed as non-terrestrial, near Tartarian map edges. Recent videos continue to show alleged alien craft over Siberian lakes, tying to ancient stargates like Iraq's, where Sumerian lore of Anunnaki gods, perhaps Gog and Magog's true form, descended through such gates. Theories now blend demons and aliens. Revelations deceived nations as hybrid entities, portals unleashing them upon Tartaria. Their infiltration caused societal rot before physical assaults. Articles speculate Tartaria was the millennial kingdom, Gog and Magog's post-rain assault aligning with mudfloods and resets. Mainstream historical blindness debunks Tartaria as fantasy and Gog and Magog as symbolic foes like the Scythians. But anomalies persist. Why do 1684 maps label them in Tartary, with grave sites of kings noted? Users share Catalan atlas details portraying them as Tartarian cannibals. Walled in. Alexander's gates as literal portal seals. Videos explore biblical ties, suggesting Tartaria's Christian kingdom was felled by satanic hordes. While some dismiss hidden empires, forums buzz with end-times links. Tartaria as Gog's realm erased post-Armageddon. Wander Siberian forests. Can you spot a UFO portal echo? Watch Sochi footage. Can you decode its symbols, a demonic blueprint? Ancient stargates in Egypt or Peru mirror this. Cosmic doors Tartarians guarded until overrun. Demons or aliens Gog and Magog embody the archetype of invasion. Their portals rifts in reality's veil. What if Siberia's skies hold the keys, the sighting harbingers of returning forces? The prophecy unfolds. Tartaria's fall, a chilling cautionary prelude. Portals whispering of realms beyond. Forces lurking in night's embrace. Ponder, are we next in their path, or are we the heirs to seal the gates anew? The enigma pulses, drawing souls to the threshold. If these cosmic riddles intrigue you, drop a like or share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what mysteries keep you up at night, and if you want more, hit subscribe and turn on notifications to join us for the next chapter. Beneath the veneer of benevolent charity in the late 19th century, a shadowy network of trains rattled across America, methodically ferrying thousands of orphaned children from bustling eastern cities to the rural frontiers. This movement, hailed as a welfare innovation, is now shrouded in questions that pierce the heart of Tartaria's alleged erasure. These orphan trains, operating from 1854 to 1929 under the auspices of organizations like the Children's Aid Society and the New York Foundling Hospital, relocated an estimated 25,000 children, many of whom vanished into adoptive homes with scant records. This fuels modern theories that this was no mere social program, but a calculated repopulation effort following a global reset that decimated Tartaria's populace. The intrigue begins with the sheer scale. Why transport so many youths westward, often without parental consent or thorough vetting, if not to fill emptied landscapes left barren by cataclysms like mud floods or plasma events? Proponents whisper that these children weren't true orphans, but survivors of Tartarian families, their memories suppressed, identities reassigned to rebuild society under new, controlling entities. The Children's Aid Society, founded by Charles Loring Brace in 1853, positioned the trains as salvation from urban squalor, shipping children to Midwest farms where they became laborers or adoptees. but archival glimpses reveal unsettling inconsistencies. Many orphans had living parents unable to afford care, while others appeared suddenly in records post-disasters. Brace's own writings romanticize the effort, yet critics in contemporary newspapers decried it as blatant child trafficking, with riders often auctioned at stops like livestock. In Tartarian lore, this ties directly to the mudflood's aftermath. Vast cities depopulated, their advanced architecture standing empty, requiring fresh inhabitants to occupy and obscure the remnants of the old world. Why else the profound urgency to disperse Eastern youths, many offspring of immigrants, into heartlands where Tartarian structures loomed? Secret societies weave inextricably into this tapestry, none more enigmatic than the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, a fraternal group rapidly emerging in the early 19th century. Their lodges sprouted in Reset-era towns, with missions to visit the sick, relieve the distressed, bury the dead, and educate the orphan. Oddfellows' orphanages dotted the landscape, housing foundlings amid symbols of three links: friendship, love, and truth. Yet conspiracies paint them as key reset operatives, collecting Tartarian survivors' children to indoctrinate them into the new order. Their rituals, veiled in profound secrecy like Freemasons, involved initiations with skeletons and moral plays echoing ancient mystery schools. Freemasons, with their ubiquitous square and compass emblems adorning Tartarian-like buildings, are similarly accused of orchestrating the trains, their extensive networks facilitating child distribution to repopulate ghost cities. Why did Oddfellows' halls often feature buried basements, with anomalous artifacts, mirroring mud-flooded structures? The bizarre Cabbage Patch Baby phenomenon adds even stranger layers. In the late 19th century, World's Fairs controversially showcased incubator exhibits with premature infants, displayed like curiosities, allegedly sourced from orphan trains. These infantoriums, like at the 1904 St. Louis Exposition, undeniably saved lives, but also sparked persistent rumors of cloned or manufactured children repopulating post-reset voids. Folklore traditionally tied babies to cabbages, a fertility symbol, but conspiracies link it to Tartarian biotech, where advanced gestation techniques mimicked nature to replenish wiped populations. Eerily empty city photos from the era streets, devoid of life despite grand architecture, suggest post-Cataclysm desolation, the trains filling the vacuum with amnesiac youths. While long-exposure photography can explain blurred crowds, theorists counter why no static figures if cities were truly bustling. Perhaps they weren't. The reset's aftermath left them ghost towns until the orphans arrived. Illuminati shadows loom large, that elusive cabal blending Freemasonic roots with global control agendas, allegedly using societies like the Oddfellows to orchestrate resets. Founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, the Bavarian Illuminati infiltrated Masonry, their ironed pyramid symbol on the dollar bill hinting at Tartarian suppression. Conspiracies claim they engineered orphan trains to reset demographics, erasing Tartarian bloodlines while installing compliant generations. Foundling hospitals, with their old-world architecture, became hubs, babies left in baby wheels, whisked to trains, their origins deliberately obscured. Why the spike in asylums post-1850s, suspiciously coinciding with alleged mud floods? Personal testimonies deepen the mystery. Descendants of train riders recount fragmented family lore, unexplained heritage gaps suggesting erased pasts. One online post shares a great-grandparent's tale of dugout origins, implying post-flood extraction. Another links trains to Tartarian repopulation, children as reset pawns. Videos dissect incubator babies at fairs, questioning if they were cloned from Tartarian technology. The Oddfellows' intense focus on educating the fatherless masks potentially darker roles, their lodges near train routes facilitating distribution. Freemasonic parallels intrigue, both groups emphasize brotherhood and charity. Yet conspiracies accuse them of elite control, using orphans to build compliant societies. Masonic symbols in train-era buildings strongly suggest oversight, their rituals echoing Tartarian mysteries. Illuminati orchestration ties in. Population resets to maintain power. Why did the trains cease in 1929? Perhaps signaling a completion of post-World War resets. The Australian home children scandal mirrors this. Children shipped from Britain to colonies, ostensibly repopulating post-reset lands, a global pattern of orphans as reset tools. Societies like the Odd Fellows as handlers. Empty photos post-reset desolation. Trains importing life. Debunkers cite welfare motives, but anomalies persist. Undocumented children. Abusive placements. Society's secrecy fuels doubt. Oddfellows' skeletons in rites hint at darker truths. Freemasons' influence in government suggests coordination. The puzzle tantalizes. Trace ancestry, uncover train links, find hidden Tartarian roots. Cabbage myths persist. Fairs birthing repopulation lore. The Illuminati's hand, resetting humanity, one child at a time. What family secrets await, perhaps tying to lost empires? The enigma unfolds, train whistles echoing forgotten cries. Suppose you find yourself in a dimly lit online forum at midnight, scrolling through heated debates where one side brandishes historical maps and architectural blueprints as irrefutable proof of a hidden empire, while the other counters with scholarly articles and geological data, dismantling the narrative piece by piece. Yet neither fully quells the lingering doubt that perhaps, just perhaps, the truth lies in the subtle, nuanced gray area between established fact and compelling fabrication. This is the very essence of the Tartaria debate, a fascinating clash where pseudo-history meets rigorous scrutiny, forcing us to weigh the alluring promise of a grand conspiracy against the sobering, weighty demands of verifiable evidence, all while pondering if education systems worldwide are truly guardians of comprehensive knowledge or, in fact, subtle gatekeepers of carefully curated secrets. On one hand, the debunkers present a compelling historically rooted case, arguing that Tartaria was never a unified technologically advanced empire. Instead, it was a broad, archaic geographical term utilized by European cartographers to label the vast, largely unknown regions of Central Asia and Siberia. From the 13th century onward, Tartary or Tartaria encompassed territories inhabited by diverse nomadic groups like the Tatars, Mongols, and Turks, stretching from the Caspian Sea to the Pacific Ocean. Maps from the 1500s to the 1800s, such as those by Giacomo Cantelli da Vignola or Giovanni Botero, consistently depicted it not as a singular, technologically advanced civilization with towering structures, but as a patchwork of kanates and steppes, often colored vaguely to denote mystery rather than mastery. The Russian Geographical Society has explicitly debunked the conspiracy, sharing numerous historical maps that unequivocally show Tartary as a placeholder for areas under Mongol influence or later Russian expansion, emphasizing that its eventual disappearance from modern atlases simply reflects improved geographical knowledge and the natural decline of the term as international borders solidified. Skeptics like those featured on the Skeptoid podcast or in Bloomberg articles point out that the theory's origins trace back to Russian pseudo-scientific circles, particularly Anatoly Fomenko's New Chronology from the 1970s. This radical revisionism compresses historical timelines to discredit Western history and elevate Russian nationalism. Fomenko's ideas, later popularized by occult writers like Nikolai Levashov, portray Tartaria as a suppressed, real Russia ignored by the West, a narrative the society dismisses as extremist fantasy. They highlight how the addition of an extra R to Tatar evoked Tartarus, the Greek hell, subtly biasing Europeans to view the region as barbaric, not brilliant. This linguistic prejudice, combined with a widespread ignorance of complex Asian history, they argue, birthed the entire myth. Furthermore, well-documented accounts from historical travelers like Marco Polo or early Russian explorers reveal no evidence of free energy domes or giant builders, only nomadic herders and kanates. The mud flood hypothesis, central to the conspiracy, crumbles under geological scrutiny. Proponents claim a global deluge of liquefied soil in the mid-1800s buried Tartarian cities, leaving basements as former ground floors and windows at sidewalk level. Yet, geological experts consistently attribute these buried buildings to practical urban development. Streets systematically raised for improved sanitation, as seen in Seattle's 1889 regrading after fires and floods, or Chicago's post-1871 fire elevations to combat chronic sewage issues. No widespread geological evidence supports a singular, planet-wide mud event. Instead, localized floods, volcanic ash, or deliberate human engineering sufficiently explain such anomalies. Discover magazine articles note how conspiracy believers often misinterpret 19th-century construction techniques, like using staff plaster over wood for temporary World's Fair buildings, as definitive proof of ancient origins, conveniently ignoring vast archives brimming with photographs of scaffolding and diligent workers. Giants, another crucial pillar of the theory, fare no better in the cold light of science. Reports of 9-foot skeletons from 1800s newspapers often prove to be hoaxes or misidentified mammoth bones, with the Smithsonian clarifying that no such remains exist in their collections. Losses attributed to poor preservation, not conspiracy. Evolutionary biology confirms that average human height hasn't drastically changed in millennia. Cases of gigantism, like Robert Wadlow, were extremely rare anomalies, not evidence of an entire race. Biblical Nephilim or Greek Titans are universally understood as mythological or cultural explanations for natural wonders or fossils, not historical fact. As Wikipedia entries on pseudo-history underscore, these claims often ignore Asia's rich documented history from the vast conquests of the Mongol Empire to the nuanced cultures of Siberian indigenous peoples, reducing complex narratives to fantasy. Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix, often cited by believers as validation, faces similar debunking. Hancock posits Ice Age cataclysms erased advanced societies, linking sites like Göbekli Tepe to lost knowledge. But archaeologists widely criticize it for cherry-picking data and ignoring robust radiocarbon dating that places Göbekli Tepe at 11,000 years ago, built by hunter-gatherers evolving social complexity. The Society for American Archaeology condemned the series as pseudoscience, arguing it undermines indigenous histories by attributing achievements to mysterious others. Claims of censorship, Netflix facing backlash, stem from legitimate scholarly pushback, not suppression. Hancock's books sell millions, hardly a hidden voice. Education systems themselves come under fire in the conspiracy, accused of deliberately hiding ancient truths to maintain control, teaching a Eurocentric timeline that dismisses alternative civilizations. Believers question why curricula gloss over detailed Asian history, focusing predominantly on Greece and Rome, suggesting a deliberate omission to perpetuate Western dominance. Yet, debunkers counter that education constantly evolves with new evidence. Tartary's hiding reflects its obsolescence, as a term, not malicious intent. However, genuine dangers lurk here. Pseudo-history fosters profound distrust in established institutions. As research from organizations like NetResearch warns, this can lead to extremism, where benign theories like Tartaria subtly morph into supremacist narratives, romanticizing a pure past allegedly erased by impure forces. Why the consistency in old maps, if merely fake? Cartographers frequently copied each other, perpetuating errors, like California's depiction as an island, until new surveys corrected them. Education's hiding might simply be oversight, not conspiracy. But what if curricula do unconsciously prioritize certain histories, marginalizing others? Hancock's series, despite its flaws, undeniably sparks interest in underrepresented sites, challenging long-held dogmas. The debate rages on forums like Reddit's history memes, where users often mock Tartaria as QAnon of architecture. Yet some ponder the rapid 19th-century builds, genuinely wondering if lost techniques might explain them. Bloomberg labels it cultural discontent with modernism, a yearning for traditional grandeur, but the dangers abound. Pseudo-history erodes trust, as seen in parallels with anti-vaccination movements, slowing scientific progress by demanding proofs for established facts. In this relentless tug-of-war between truth and conspiracy, debunkers offer concrete evidence. Tartary as a geographic label, mud floods as localized events, giants as myths, but believers counter with persistent anomalies, uniform architectural styles globally, suppressed patents, education's undeniable gaps. Perhaps the real danger lies in polarization, where genuine questioning becomes instant dismissal, and curiosity is curbed by ridicule. As these threads unravel, consider, if Tartaria is fake, why the enduring emotional pull, a yearning for lost wonder in a disposable age, or are there subtle truths hidden within the pseudo-history, overlooked civilizations, or censored inquiries? Hancock's censorship, via critiques, highlights inherent tensions, academia's gatekeeping versus open exploration. Education hides curricula evolve slowly, but online echo chambers rapidly accelerate myths. The dangers of pseudo-history are real, yet maps consistency intrigues, copied errors or hidden unity. Why do ancient sites like Göbekli Tepe challenge timelines, and why is education slow to integrate? If education conceals, what motives drive narratives, as Fomenko claimed for Russia? Or is it merely innocent oversight? In this fray, perhaps a hybrid truth exists. Tartary was real as a region, but the myths reveal deeper yearnings for lost technology or harmonious pasts. Dangers are real. Conspiracy erodes facts, breeds division. But question, if all is debunked, why the persistent appeal? Is it education's fault, hiding diverse histories, or humanity's innate need for mystery in a mundane world? The pull endures, facts clashing with fancies, inviting deeper dives. What if peeling layers reveals not just conspiracy, but overlooked stories, or validates doubts, unveiling systemic obfuscations? Curiosity beckons. Scrutinize maps, challenge texts, weigh evidence. In the light of debunking, conspiracy dims, but shadows remain, whispering possibilities. The quest continues, balancing skepticism with wonder, truth emerging from the fray. As we draw the veil on this profound exploration of Tartaria's shadowed legacy, consider the quiet, persistent echoes of its proposed existence within our modern world, not as mere relics gathering dust in sterile museums, but as vital living threads woven into the very fabric of possibility. These echoes invite us to envision a future where the lost harmonies of an ancient empire might yet be reclaimed, transforming our fractured present into a tapestry of revitalized potential. The surviving remnants of Tartaria, scattered like stardust across continents, manifest in subtle anomalies that persistently challenge our everyday perceptions. Star forts that hum with unexplained electromagnetic pulses during solar flares, ancient domes where compasses spin erratically, and ruins where visitors report fleeting visions or inexplicable warmth, as if psychic imprints linger profoundly within the very stone. These are not mere tourist curiosities. They whisper of a civilization that achieved an exquisite balance between advanced technology and profound spiritual awareness, offering a compelling hope that we too might transcend our current age of division and rediscover the profound unity that once powered a global renaissance. The survivors of Tartaria's cataclysmic fall, those resilient souls who purportedly emerged from the mud floods and plasma storms, carried fragments of that lost world into ours, perhaps encoded within folklore, deeply ingrained genetic memories, or even the subtle yet distinct architecture of our very cities. Historical accounts, often dismissed as mere tall tales, speak of enigmatic wanderers from the East arriving in Europe and America in the early 19th century, bearing unusual artifacts, crystal shards that glowed under moonlight, maps etched with unfamiliar constellations, and astounding tales of airships that danced gracefully with the aurora borealis. These could be the direct descendants, seeding hope through oral traditions that gradually evolved into enduring myths of hidden kingdoms, such as Shambhala or Agartha inner earth realms, where Tartarian knowledge supposedly endures, carefully preserved. Modern psychics and remote viewers in sessions meticulously documented on fringe podcasts claim direct contact with these lingering echoes, visions of towering figures teaching free energy principles, urgently urging humanity to avoid the devastating cycles of collapse that tragically befell their forebears. This cycle, as meticulously outlined in the Five Eras theory, portrays history not as linear, inevitable progress, but as recurring waves. Golden ages of enlightenment, inevitable progress, but as recurring waves. Golden ages of enlightenment inevitably crashing into devastating resets of oblivion. Each time humanity claws its way back, but with less knowledge and fewer resources than before. Tartaria, the purported pinnacle of the Fourth Era, supposedly rose from the legacy of pyramid builders and star architects, achieving a profound symphony of society and individual, where energy flowed freely and conflicts were resolved through resonance rather than brute force. But infiltration by malevolent forces, be they Gog and Magog symbolic hordes or metaphorical demons of insatiable greed, allegedly led to its undoing, a pattern we see unsettlingly mirrored today in escalating environmental crises and deepening social fractures. The hope, then, lies in consciously breaking this destructive loop. By meticulously studying the remnants, we might harness the latent energies of star forts, perhaps as modern resonance devices to generate clean power, or decode psychic remnants embedded in ruins to unlock forgotten healing frequencies. Imagine archaeologists in remote Siberia unearthing a Tartarian vault during a routine dig, crystals aligned to ley lines, activating under specific lunar phases to produce measurable voltage, as reported in obscure journals from the 2010s. These anomalies strongly suggest the Empire's technology wasn't destroyed, but merely dormant, patiently waiting for attuned minds to awaken it. Conspiracy circles buzz with stories of government black sites experimenting with such finds, reverse engineering free energy to power secret bases, while ruthlessly suppressing public access to maintain a manufactured scarcity. Yet, this very suppression paradoxically sparks optimism. If whistleblowers and independent researchers can replicate these phenomena, as seen in YouTube demonstrations of homemade Tesla coils, drawing ambient power, we stand on the cusp of reclaiming that legacy, transitioning from our plastic Fifth Era to a renewed golden dawn. The psychic remnants add an intimate, deeply personal layer of wonder. Visitors to sites like the Bosnian pyramids, massive hills theorized as artificial constructs with underground tunnels, or Scottish vitrified forts report vivid dreams, post-visit, seemingly reliving Tartarian daily life communities gathering under resonant domes that fostered profound empathy and groundbreaking innovation. Airships ferrying effortlessly across borders without barriers. These are not mere hallucinations. Parapsychology studies, though undeniably controversial, document elevated theta brainwaves in such locations, powerfully hinting at imprinted consciousness from a time when society prioritized spiritual harmony alongside technological prowess. Hope truly blooms here. If we can effectively tap these echoes through meditation or advanced biofeedback devices, we might access crucial blueprints for sustainable living, consciously avoiding the hubris that doomed previous eras. What if therapy sessions within ancient cathedrals, with their unique acoustic chambers, harnessed these remnants to heal societal divides, echoing Tartaria's balanced ethos? Education plays an absolutely pivotal role in this reclamation. Current systems, often accused of subtly hiding alternative histories, could evolve to include Tartaria's profound lessons, teaching cycles of rise and fall to foster societal resilience. Imagine curricula incorporating Hancock's Cataclysm theories alongside standard timelines, actively encouraging students to question, explore and innovate. While the danger of pseudo-history leading to misplaced trust or extremism is undeniably real, online communities from Reddit's Tartaria threads to Discord servers debating mudflood evidence already embody this hope, crowdsourcing analyses that challenge dogmas and propose tangible solutions, like community energy grids inspired by star forts. The remnants extend to cultural artifacts, folk music from Siberian tribes with melodies that induce trance states, perhaps remnants of Tartarian sound technology, or crop circles mimicking ancient geometries, interpreted as messages from survivors' descendants, urgently urging unity in a world grappling with escalating climate change. As rising seas echo Atlantis's tragic fall, we might draw hope from Tartaria's adaptive spirit, their airships symbolizing mobility in crisis, their crystals prefiguring solar innovations. Yet the path forward demands caution. Reclaiming free energy could drastically disrupt global economies, sparking fierce resistance from entrenched powers, as seen in the suppression of patents for over-unity devices. Conspiracy warnings of a new reset loom, but hope counters with collective action, grassroots movements, building off-grid communities, experimenting with resonance technology to heal environments scarred by industrial excess. As descendants of survivors, our very DNA may hold the keys. Genetic studies revealing unexplained markers in Eurasian populations, perhaps Tartarian legacies, enhancing intuition or resilience. Psychic explorations, like those in Casey's readings, suggest accessible Akashic records, universal blueprints for a harmonious future. In this intricate tapestry of remnants and aspiration, Tartaria stands not as a lament for what was lost, but as a vibrant beacon. Its cycle-breaking potential is profoundly alive in anomalies, enduring myths, and our innate human curiosity. By courageously embracing the unknown, we honor the survivors, forging an era where energy truly frees, unity powerfully binds, and history illuminates rather than confines. As the threads of Tartaria's enigma weave toward closure, let us linger on the resilient sparks that endure not as fading embers of a forgotten fire, but as brilliant beacons illuminating paths to profound renewal. Here the Empire's scattered remnants might ignite a collective awakening, transforming our fractured present into a vibrant tapestry of reclaimed potential. These remnants, etched into landscapes and psyches alike, offer far more than mere historical curiosities. They embody a living blueprint for hope, urgently urging us to transcend the destructive cycles of collapse by harnessing the very energies that once powered an enlightened age, thereby turning the whispers of the past into the resounding roars of innovation for tomorrow.